A lot of you, when you tell me, it's like, man, I'm getting high, I'm not even feeling good. I just get anxious. I get more anxious now when I'm getting high, when before it used to help me with anxiety. I'm getting these like really negative thoughts, and I always have to keep smoking, and then I feel guilty afterwards. Like, I was really there, man. I've been there, you know, when smoking and getting high is no longer fun, but you keep doing it because you don't know what else to do. And for me, I was isolated. I was pretty alone. I'll tell you why did I start smoking weed? Because when I was working first, making a good amount of money for a 23, 24-year-old, making six figures, 115K, I think is what I started making at. Life was very stressful because I wasn't enjoying my work. I was also under a lot of pressure to prove myself. When I first started using weed, I got into vape pens because they were very convenient. It didn't take long where I would get through a whole gram in one night. When I got introduced to weed, I was like, this is the best thing ever. It makes me feel euphoric. I feel great. Started with the vape pens, tried some edibles. I was somebody that was smoking all the time. At my worst, I was getting high every single day. First thing in the morning, I'd wake up, and before I brushed my teeth, I'd take a fat dab. Then I'd roll a joint. Then I'd go to work, and I'd work all day, and sometimes I'd have a vape pen, so I'd be going out every few hours to go hit the vape pen. And after work, I'm coming home, hitting the pen, taking a dab, getting my Volcano loaded up, and I'm just smoking every single hour on the hour until I'm passing the fuck out, going to bed, and sometimes waking up in the middle of the night and getting high throughout the night as well. It was just like, I just loved smoking. I loved like puffing smoke out of my mouth. Towards the end of this phase, I was really upset with my life. I was really upset with where things were going. And this is when I started to look in deeper. I was like, okay, clearly getting high like I am is not making me successful. It's not getting me towards my goals. This is when I started to think about cutting back. So the first time I ever cut back on weed, I decided to go cold turkeys. It was the hardest thing ever, but I decided to cut it out. I literally cut all my plants. Like, this is a good amount of bud that I've like literally now from like tiny little clones seen it grow. I literally cut off all my plants, put it in trash bags, took it out to the dumpster, threw it away, took all of my paraphernalia, put it all in like boxes because I had some really expensive shit and I kind of wanted to sell it off instead of throwing it in the trash. I took all the bud I had and whatever, called up a couple people, gave it all away, and I just put it all out of sight completely, and I cut it cold turkey. What I have to tell you guys is, got hard real quick. Like, when I'm talking about not sleeping, there were a lot of nights where I'm just staring, and I'm also really sulking in my negative thinking. Like, I have an overthinking mind in general, and when I got off of weed, I was really spiraling into some real negative thoughts, and I didn't have weed to deal with it. But I also didn't want to just give in because I knew that I wasn't happy with my weed consumption in life, and I decided I wanted to change. And I was really trying to like get this process to take place, which is detox. So I know how tough it can be when you do it cold turkey, which is why I'm telling you guys to try the tapering method. It might help you, because after that moment, I'm gonna fast forward in the story. From the time when I cut it out completely, I killed all my plants, I threw all my shit away, and I started to really take on this journey of, okay, I've put myself in this position where I'm depressed and anxious. At that point, I really had no choice but to take matters into my own hands. I kind of felt like I was a know-it-all. I knew more than the fucking therapist type of attitude. That kind of ego was still there, so I didn't want to go get help. But at the same time, man, like I'm telling you, the one and only thing that helped me was meditation. It really started grounding me, because at that time, doing this simple thing that my mom told me about, it's like, why don't you try meditation? I think it's going to really help you. And I'm like, what kind of is this, sitting down and focusing on your breath? I thought it was the dumbest thing ever. But you know what? I was so broken at that time that was all that I could manage. And slowly but surely, things started to spiral upwards in a positive direction from there. Almost a year from that point, after I cut it out cold turkey and started meditating, I was slowly starting to get rejuvenated again. I was working out again. So I'm telling you guys all this because it's very important to know that detox doesn't mean you're going to stay off of drugs forever. Like, yeah, I detoxed. I found my way through life. I got better. But you know what? Once I moved down to San Diego, I felt like life's good. Let's smoke weed again. I started smoking weed again. So in 2018, I started smoking weed every once in a while. And then every once in a while, turned into smoking it every day. And then every day turned into, you know what? Now that I'm good, I'm never going to go back to that same ditch of darkness again. It was like, dude, why are you back at it again? So about a year and a half living with my girlfriend, you know, we started to see that this is a problem in our relationship, that I'm smoking so much, she doesn't smoke, and those challenges really started to surface, and I wanted to quit again. And not necessarily quit, I just didn't want to have to depend so much on weed again. That's when I developed, instead of just cutting out cold turkey at the time, first only in the evenings. But then I realized that I started in the evenings, what would happen? I would smoke from 6 p.m. till the time I'd go into bed. So then I had to realize, okay, that's the problem now. You can't just be smoking all evening, because then I'm not getting all this other stuff that I want to get done. I'm just getting all high and enjoying it, but not doing anything, and then I'm feeling shit about that. I guess both times what's common is I was getting to a point in my life where getting high wasn't really making me happy anymore. It wasn't fulfilling the need that it once was. So I wanted to change. And I think a lot of you watching this right now are at a point where you also want to change, and weed isn't the solution.